Grammar, colleagues. Elections for special interest groups are calling. SIGs, elections. Youth, PWDs, elderly. It's time to vote for our leaders. June through August. From village to parish to district to nationals. Youth, PWDs, elderly. It's time, go vote your leaders.
No!
FOB! Elections are supposed to be peaceful. Easy vote, okay?
Youth, elderly, and persons with disabilities. It's time to choose our leaders. Let's show up and participate in the special interest group elections. Starting June through August this year. Your vote, your voice. My vote, my voice. This message is brought to you by the Uganda Electoral Commission.
At UNOC, we believe in safety. Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
At UNOC, we believe in safety. Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every
Now get all the chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
A lovely morning to you, and thank you very, very much for being with us on UBC TV. This cold, I must say, this cold Tuesday, because it's really cold, it's raining out there, and in case you are away from the 5 divisions of Kampala, what do I mean? Machindye, Central, Kawempe, Rubaga, Nakawa. These 5 divisions that make up Kampala, it's raining cats and dogs. So in case you're coming into the city, please make sure you have an umbrella. Make sure also that if you have infants home, they are warm enough. And above all, don't walk, don't drive where you're not very sure of where you're setting foot or where your tire is moving next, because you may end up being swept by water, being carried away. Maybe you step in a manhole or something like that. And sometimes when it rains, we have what we call temporary, in Kampala, have what we call temporary stagnation of water. But after the rain has ended, then you see that the flooding goes automatically. So make sure you're very, very safe. Now, welcome to the Extra. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. That is in case you have just joined. And this morning, I have a guest. It's not my first time to have this gentleman with me on set, but I'm happy I'm hosting him the second time. And we are going to be discussing something very, very important to you, and that is sustainable procurement reforms in Uganda. Sustainable procurement reforms in Uganda. And I have the Commissioner, Procurement Policy Management Department, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and that is Isaac Chaligonza. Good morning, sir, and most welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bwana Chirabo, and nice being with you once again for this important program.
Now, to begin with, on a lighter note, how is the ministry? How is procurement?
Yes, yes, procurement is domiciled in the Ministry of Finance. You know, as Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, it is natural, it is only natural that this function, the procurement function of the country, is domiciled in the Ministry of Finance. We are okay, and we're doing a number of reforms, including what you've just introduced, what we call sustainable public procurement in Uganda.
Now that brings me to a quick one. All our conversations are going to rotate not so much on public procurement. Now to have our viewer in sync with us, what do we mean by public procurement?
Yes, and thank you for that as a first question and bringing the viewer on board. We want to appreciate public procurement in simple terms, in a way that even a businessman in Chikubo can appreciate. So what we mean by public procurement, we are talking of that process that government goes through to acquire goods, to acquire services and works that will help a citizen. You see, talk of a road, talk of a public hospital, talk of public schools. So how do we have those delivered to the public for public service? So that, in simple, follows the procurement process. And one would say, therefore, that it requires planning, it requires budgeting, it requires picking the right contractors or suppliers so that you meet the expectations of the citizens. Therefore, it is a process that takes a lot of government money, that takes a lot of a citizen's money to achieve. So in simple terms, that's the process.
Now, having explained that is the process, now there's a term sustainability. Now, our viewer, we're looking at, we've first handled public procurement, but now we bring in sustainability. Now, how do we connect public procurement and sustainability?
That's good. Yes, as I defined the public procurement and the intention and the efforts and the funds that are involved in meeting public service delivery. Sustainability, on the other hand, is about balancing all we do and the planet Earth. It is about maintaining, it is about perpetuity. So if we are conducting public procurement and we add in the element of sustainability, it means that as we acquire what services the public requires, that process must bear into consideration the need for the future. Some circles have looked at sustainability as how do we achieve for the current generation without compromising the future generations in also achieving what they want to achieve. So that is sustainability. And therefore, it is anchored on 3 or 4 key areas. So it is about social sustainability. It is about economic sustainability. It is about environmental sustainability. In other words, as you want to procure a road for people in Lamo district, for example, how then do you recognize the environmental aspects? How do you recognize the social aspects in terms of, say, employment, in terms of human rights, in terms of pay? So it is that connection between now and the future as we do whatever we do. You can even take it to a personal perspective. What you do today in your family, in your clan, how does it impact or does it give room for the future generation of your clan or your country to survive? That is all, in simple terms, about sustainability.
Now, let's look at sustainable procurement. How does an ordinary person come in here? What is my role in terms of sustainable procurement?
Yes, as I said, you can look at sustainability from the perspective of government, but also from an individual perspective. Now, for sustainable public procurement, as an individual person or a business person, but even as a, even by way of a company, it is incumbent on all of us to embrace sustainable public procurement. One, the choices of products we make. Say you are buying a bulb as an individual. Look at how long it will take to use. Look at the energy it will consume. You are buying, let me use a local example of a boda boda. If you had the choice between an electric one and the one that takes fuel, petrol, as an individual, compare the two in terms of use. I know one should now be thinking of buying one that only requires recharging to avoid a number of things, to avoid pollution. So, as an individual, the choice you make contributes to sustainable public practice. Two, the way we dispose whatever we use. Remember, sustainable public procurement is also about environmental concerns. So even when you're an individual, what you buy and how you dispose it, for example, is another important aspect in sustainable public. From an individual perspective, we have had floods around town, like it has just rained. But because of individual misbehavior, let me put it, people have littered everywhere, say plastic after use, and they've clogged the drainage system. Now, as an individual, that is your role, and you'll be feeding directly into what we are advocating as sustainable public procurement. But also, being aware and also sharing that information with others. In some jurisdictions, in some areas, if a neighbor saw you disposing, they will tap on you and say, please, this is not the ethical way, this is not the sustainable way of living. So even sharing information, like I'm sharing with you, if at the end of the day, in the evening, I'm getting feedback that you are also spreading, you're also becoming a crusader in this, that will be very commendable. So even as individuals, and by the way, it starts with us, it starts with you, and cumulatively, it builds up on what impression we give in terms of sustainability. So you are right, as individuals, we have to comply. As companies, they have to comply, so that in totality, we all paint a good picture in terms of sustainability.
Now, this brings me to ask, when was this hatched? When was this policy? Because in procurement, sustainability within the public sector is something that maybe for decades has not been a priority. Now, to me, it sounds like a new thing. I stand to be corrected. But when was this whole idea developed, hatched, and now we are seeing us following that direction?
That's a good one. And because it is new, it's one of the reasons I'm here. So that our main broadcasting service provider, the mighty UBC, can communicate, can inform the public. You are right, it's a new aspect now we look at, and we are serious about it. The issue of sustainable procurement is a recent concern. that came up in 2015 for the first time in a UN summit in Paris, in France. So it feeds into the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and feeds into goal number 12 on responsible production and consumption, and finally sustainable public procurement. So it is a global recognition that the world must look at. So by Uganda being a member and endorsing that summit that took place in 2015, we committed ourselves. And from there, we have changed a lot, including the laws. So one would say the main beginning point is that summit in 2015. So it triggered revisions of laws, the procurement laws, and the regulations and policies. And so in 2019, government of Uganda, in fulfillment of that commitment, had to, with the approval of cabinet, to put in place a policy, the National Public Sector Procurement Policy, and it has a component embracing sustainable public procurement. And from there, in 2021, we also amended the main law, the principal law, what we call the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act. And that was meant to now anchor this requirement in the law. And from there, we are moving, we're improving our regulations, we're improving our standard documents and forms that we give out to bidders so that they begin to embrace it. But taking you again a little into the policy that was made in that was approved in 2019, in the same spirit, we have an action plan. We have an action plan, a 5-year action plan, and I'm here also in fulfillment of one of the components in that action plan, which is awareness creation.
Now, awareness creation being done, an ordinary person out there would love to know, Commissioner, also, what are the advantages? Why should we even give this time? Why should it be embedded in our laws when it comes to procurement?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yes. And as part of awareness, I want to restate it. Because sustainable public procurement, as I said, is anchored on 3 or 4 areas. And I'll concentrate mainly on, for the person listening and viewing out there, I'll concentrate on 2. Why should they be concerned? One is that whatever government buys, now if I start from government, has an impact on our environment. And our environment is our life. It is our life for today, but also for the generations to come. So, a citizen must be concerned about what we are talking about. 2, that citizen could also be a supplier in a way. And all suppliers or providers of services to government should also know, so that when government begins to demand a certain level of items, a certain quality of items, of goods and services that comply to sustainability, then they are able to comply. But also, government cannot work in isolation. By being concerned and being informed about sustainable public procurement, then you are able to influence your neighbor to appreciate the role and the importance of sustainable public procurement. That is on the environmental aspect. Because finally, when the environment is dead, the next generation will not survive. So that's why we must be cautious about sustainable public procurement. But also, on the social sustainability aspect, it looks at human rights. It looks at fair pay. It looks at safety at workplace. So that goes right to every individual because they themselves, their sons and others may be exploited if they are not aware. And for us as government, these are parameters we are now embedding and enforcing. If you are a road contractor, on the social sustainability aspect, don't employ the underage. Pay fairly and pay them on time. That is social sustainability. And you have had stories in the past where a road has been a road construction project has been stopped because the contractor has transgressed, has breached those requirements. So because they're in place, that you can follow them up. So just looking at those two aspects alone, the social and the environmental aspects, it would require that every citizen appreciates the role of sustainable public procurement, and that's why me and you are here to communicate it. And as you said from the beginning, it is a new area that we need to constantly share with the public, remind them, and continuously remind them. And at the end of the day, we shall all be at par and we shall be able to comply. And in that sense, we shall be able to enjoy the current, satisfy public and personal needs without compromising the future.
Now, I love that, without compromising the future and the other elements embedded, that now if you're going to be a service provider to government, then you must have understood what we call public sustainable procurement. Exactly. Otherwise, at the end of the day, you may bid, and because you don't have these well embedded, correct, then you may miss out on that contract. Now, how are public sector organizations going to promote this?
Okay, we are already doing this. Number one, we are building a cadre of trainers to train others to appreciate what I'm preaching now. Two, we are engaging providers. We are already engaging providers, suppliers, contractors. We have met them. We have met. I appreciate you also in the agricultural sector. We have met dealers, manufacturers, and distributors of herbicides, for example, caricides, and we are fine-tuning them. We have met those in the chemical industry, because chemicals are another source of abuse.
For example, lead.
For example, yeah, that is poison.
Very destructive, yet we can't paint. Usually, most of the paint, it's there.
Yes. So we have reached out there, and we have shared with them. We have gotten feedback, and we have also fed back, and we are taking that message higher up. We have met those in the automobile industry. We have had that engagement, and many other categories, so that we prepare them. We are also meeting government oversight institutions that are involved at high level in monitoring public procurement. Office of the Auditor General, the Inspectorate of Government, PPDA, Solicitor General, and other high level institutions, so that, and I'm happy to report that some institutions are already following it up. Public PPDA, for example, is already monitoring this as a result of this awareness and capacity building, including development partners from abroad. And let me also add that as Ministry of Finance, we have put up a platform, an online platform. Every week we have virtual engagements. So we invite different categories of practitioners from districts, from central government ministries and departments, and every Thursday in the afternoon, we have an online engagement. And we pick topical areas share with them, get feedback, and we are documenting all this. And cumulatively, we feel that an impact is getting on board. Yes.
Well, we're still discussing sustainable procurement, and this is to ensure that we safeguard our future in whatever we are procuring as a country, but also at individual basis.
Good.
What you're buying, is there sustainability, or is it going to end the world? Are we ending at that ditch where we cannot come, where our environment is destroyed, where our human and social capital are destroyed as well? Now, allow me to go for a very short break. When I return, I and my guest, we are still here and taking you through what you need to know as a Ugandan regarding this new policy in terms of procurement.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotelconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
At UNOC, we believe in safety.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break, and thank you very much for being with us on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyumitono. That is in case you've just joined, but we are always here from 6:30, I and Julie, and then Ruben comes in with the sports updates, plus also we have the Tourism Express, so you cannot miss what a heavy breakfast of information we have for you, taking you throughout the globe here on UBC TV at the comfort of your hotel room, comfort of your sitting room, comfort of your bedroom, your office, if you're an early riser just like us. Now, the extra is an extension, and we have been, and we are still discussing, that is the sustainable procurement reforms in Uganda. Uganda is making reforms in procurement to ensure that we have sustainable procurement. And with me on set, I have Dr. Isaac Charigonza, who is the Commissioner, Procurement Policy Management Department at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Now, Doctor, please take us through what has been achieved so far.
Thank you, Bwana Chirabo. I already alluded to some areas, but let me add on to say that as a Ministry of Finance, the home for procurement function in the country, one of the areas achieved has been the setting up of a secretariat, because this is very new but important. The ministry, on behalf of government, of course, dedicated a secretariat. We call it Sustainable Public Procurement Secretariat. It is charged with advocating, promoting, and monitoring all efforts on procurement related to sustainable public procurement. So it was established in 2023, and it has an office in Ministry of Finance, and doing a lot of preparatory work. As you learned, it is a new reform. It has to have the manpower, the zeal and commitment. That's one. Two is the action plan, a 5-year action plan that operationally got into force 2023 with the creation of that secretariat, and has a number of components, some of which, as I indicated, we are here in fulfillment of that action plan. We have built up a mass of trainers who are going to propel this reform. We have 100 of them, and we continuously train. That's an achievement, to have a trainer capable of interpreting and passing this information on to others and converting them, or at least convincing them, informing them, and reminding them. So we have that mass of 100 TOTs to do for us this job of sustainable public procurement. Of course, I already indicated, and for emphasis, let me say, the revision of laws to align them to speak to the need for sustainable aspects in the procurement process is another achievement. I listed them. We have the main law, the PPDA Act. We have the supporting documentation, and I should repeat, the weekly engagements. And the buy-in we have secured from development partners like World Bank and CEDA, to mention. These are some of the achievements that we have registered as a way forward. But for Ministry of Finance, again, the emphasis on electronic government, or electronic procurement system, what we call the EGP, is another move in fulfilling the intention of the reform. This is a paperless procurement system that will, in a way, address almost the 4 or 3 pillars of sustainable public procurement. First of all, by going paperless, we are
protecting our environment.
No
cutting trees to get paper.
Trees. By going E, we are giving opportunity to everyone to participate without discrimination. You get? Time is going to be saved. Cost, because now you are using E to deliver a document, to transmit a document. So you are saving money in terms of buying even paper. You are saving money even in terms of transporting a bid from point A to point Y. and all is E. That is part of sustainability. As a ministry, those are some of the top-notch achievements that I can share for now, and a lot more to come.
Now, Dr. Charigonza, let me just ask, are there some organizations or departments that we can say have really and seriously implemented this sustainable procurement policy in their procurement?
Yes, I want to report very confidently that there are entities, the government departments, government ministries that are already embracing this agenda of sustainable public procurement. I could start with Ministry of Finance. I already indicated the achievements, the direction we are taking. But let me, because it is home, let me share the experience of Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development is already implementing sustainable public procurement. One, by advocating for energy-saving initiatives. The Ministry has, the Ministry of Energy has already put into place mechanism to save on energy. And saving energy means saving environment. It also means saving resources. You've heard of energy-saving stoves, for example. You've heard of energy-saving bulbs. They save energy, they relieve you of some expense, and they work longer. That is part of that longer lifespan of a product is part of sustainability. You've heard of the charging points for vehicles, yes, and motorcycles being instituted. That exactly is what we mean when we talk of sustainability, because it will save the environment, it will save environment from pollution, it will save one's spending, it will save time, and therefore save for the future. That's one ministry I should talk about. We want also to talk about KCCA. KCCA, one, when you see the greening effort in town, is part of sustainable procurement. When you see the initiatives to reserve some work for some groups of the community, like the women, that's part of sustainable procurement under the social aspect, so that you have an inclusive policy to leave no one behind, to have women, other vulnerable groups like the youth and people with disabilities get a portion of government business and earn and be employed and be able to live is a social sustainability aspect under public procurement. So when you see KCCA and other entities do consider the vulnerable groups, it is in fulfillment of sustainable public procurement. I want to move to the PPDA, the authority that regulates public procurement. They have now, and they are doing a registration of all vulnerable groups. They are registering them, mobilizing them, together with the Ministry of Finance, and training them. And then government has a guideline to reserve a portion of tenders, a portion of business
for these groups,
for these special interest groups, as we call them. That is another entity, that is Ministry of Finance and PPDA, the authority, implementing sustainability in the procurement process. Ministry of ICT has come up with a policy on e-waste disposal, e-waste disposal, so that electronic waste, used computers, used toners, and all that is electronic, it can be disposed sustainably than dumping and littering it everywhere, and yet it will result into harmful effects onto human life and the environment, therefore, generally the planet. So those are some of the institutions of government that I can quickly bring out as already embracing sustainability at that level. But all entities of government have been instructed, and it is in the law, to right away from planning, right away from planning, whether you're planning a building, embedding elements of sustainability. That's why now you realize most of the buildings have a slot for people who are endowed differently with disabilities. That's part of it. That's why you have energy savings in buildings, government buildings, mechanisms, saving energy, saving water. If you looked at installations in most of the recently constructed government institutions, they all have element of saving, and that directly is sustainable public procurement.
Now, let's look at, would I use challenges? No, let me use barriers to sustainable procurement. What are some of the barriers, if any, so far? What have you seen as the top challenges or blockages towards this successful implementation of sustainable procurement?
Yeah, you're right. There are indeed a number, and being a new reform, they are indeed. I could share. Number one, when we talk of sustainable products, there is that misperception that they are expensive. They're expensive because if you're going to buy, I want to use the example, if you're going to buy tire X and tire Y, and you are looking at, say, the lifespan, a more durable one, you'll find it will be more expensive naturally. So there's that, or if you want to consider all these parameters on a project, there's that thinking that those items you are advocating for are expensive. It is a barrier because you have to break it in order to have it, that reform trickle and sink into the minds of everyone. Two, is that sometimes even sustainable products are not available. Products that will be used for long and can be recycled also not available in some cases. Those products may not be easily available on market for the public to consume. So they look for them. They may not be easily available. But also, on the other hand, is on the side of government, we are breaking a historical thinking. So it's also a challenge, and it will take some time, and that's why we are here, and we're doing a lot out there in offices, including the virtual engagements. Mindset change of the practitioners themselves, but also the general public. And as we are in the initial stages of this reform, locally, some people may want to say, those are for Bazungu, those are for foreigners. We don't have that budget. So some, as a barrier, some look at it as a foreign issue. But the advantages are many. If one was to use just the example of an energy saving bulb or a refrigerator that you have an equipment in the building, and you may buy it expensively, but if it is going to have a longer lifespan and consumes less of your power, you get? So those are some of the barriers that we have. And also as government, we are building up a force, a cadre that appreciates it. Because you have to do a lot of computations to come up to convince someone that designing this building in a way that responds to sustainability is better than merely having a building and does not cater, say, for example, for the people with the disabilities or for energy saving installations. So that capacity is also not yet fully developed, that we are also developing. After our 5-year horizon of our plan, we are, and of course it has the monitoring element, we want to review and see how far are we and what should be changed in terms of numbers, practitioners that appreciate sustainability and can enforce it, and therefore government and the public can benefit from their knowledge of appreciating or understanding sustainable public procurement.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Chaligonza. Now, of course, we have to give room for more programming, but I'll just give you a minute for your final remark.
Thank you, Bwana Chirabo. It has been nice having me for the second time here, and I hope I should be able to come here again. What I can leave for viewers and listeners in terms of our subject that we've been discussing today and we'll continue discussing is that this is not only a government task, it requires involvement of everyone, as individuals, as associations, to embrace it. Because sustainability means that we can be able to meet our needs today, satisfy all that we want to achieve without compromising our generations to come. And for us as government, we are using public procurement to channel our message to the public. So we request that, we plead that they join us in this reform, and the future generation and our planet can be a safe one to live in. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Isaac Chaligonza from the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. We've been looking at sustainable public procurement. Be a cadre out there. We need to protect the next generation. Even within your home, not only government, like my guest said. Have the best of your day. May the good Lord bless you. See you tomorrow, God willing.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present.